This week we got two big flashback episodes, and both were starkly different in terms of their quality. While I thoroughly enjoyed the Penguins outing this week, Agatha left a lot to be desired. I just found this episode so extremely boring. Like, subscribe, comment down below, and tell a friend. If you're new, check out the rest of the channel and let me know what you think. Let's dive into Agatha All Along, Episode 6. After Episode 5's big reveal that Teen's identity is in fact Billy Maximoff, somehow, Episode 6 spends most of its runtime laying out Billy's journey toward Agatha and the Witch's Road to this point. Now, this episode puts forth some pretty interesting and honestly cool ideas, like how Billy, an entity created by Wanda that disappeared with the Westview Hex, could even still exist at this point, like how he found Agatha in the first place, like how he uncovered all of the hidden details about what actually happened in Westview. All of these are compelling questions to ask, but the execution of this episode as a whole is just so flat. So, we meet William Kaplan, the night of his bar mitzvah. He's a simple teenager, he has friends, a stable family life, and it seems like he's genuinely a good kid. This same day takes place during the events of WandaVision, when Wanda pulls down the Westview Hex. On their way home from the bar mitzvah, William and his parents are in a tragic car accident. Unbeknownst to his parents, William dies, only to quickly be inhabited by Billy Maximoff's spirit. Billy, confused at first, quickly realizes what has happened and assumes William's life. 3 years pass. Billy has become obsessed with the history of witchcraft and the occult. Understanding who his mother was, he's utilizing that knowledge to try and track down Tommy, his brother, who has yet to be seen since the Westview incident. Eventually, Billy discovers a contact, someone who was involved in the Westview incident, who can provide some context as to what happened. This source is none other than Ralph Bohner. God, that name is so stupid. Agatha's husband / prisoner from WandaVision. He has fallen on bad times, having been severely traumatized by what happened to him. He reveals all of the events of WandaVision, recounting what happened to him, as well as the citizens of Westview, and Wanda and Agatha. From here, Billy tracks down Agatha, and this leads into the events of Episode 1, only from his perspective. We jump back to the end of last week's episode, and Agatha and Billy vow to continue on to the end of the Witch's Road, as Billy believes that at the end he'll discover something that will allow him to locate Tommy. As I stated at the beginning of this review, I think this episode boasts some pretty cool ideas. I thought Billy inhabiting the body of a deceased person near the incident was sort of clever. Bringing back another character from WandaVision to provide some insight to the outside world was a good idea. And I also think that Billy's motivation to track down Agatha and to travel the road to find his brother is compelling. It makes sense. His mother is dead, his father is God knows where, so Agatha would be the next in line, most familiar with the situation that could provide some guidance to him. The problem is, all of this just falls so incredibly flat for various reasons. Entire episodes based around flashbacks are tough, because really what they are giant exposition dumps for missing information. The way you keep them engaging is with good writing, good acting, and fresh ideas. This episode has the fresh ideas, but the acting and the writing is sorely lacking. Right off the bat, Joe Locke is just fine. He's a decent actor. I've enjoyed him so far for the most part because he was just a supporting character among various supporting characters in Agatha's show. But this episode is fully focused on him. It aims to make him really the co-lead of this series. And I don't believe he has the acting chops to support the weight of that. There are portions of this episode where he has to display a wide range of emotions, and none of it is very believable at all. There is also the issue of Ralph Boner. God, I fucking hate that they made that his name. It infuriates me every time I have to say it. Anyway, I love Evan Peters. He's a very, very talented actor. He doesn't do a lot of good projects, but he is very talented, and I always enjoy when he pops up in stuff. I wish he was in more quality productions, honestly, but it probably doesn't help that he keeps dedicating so much time going back to the garbage American Horror Story well. But I digress. He only pops up in one scene in this episode, but he is very, very good. Like, insanely good. The problem is, Marvel, especially the past few years, has suffered greatly from this issue of displaying traumatic, emotional circumstances on screen and then quickly undercutting them with dumb, pointless humor. This scene is chock full of that. Evans does so well at conveying this broken man completely crushed by what happened to him and tortured by it, but then every time you feel for this character, the writing asks him to make a silly quip or a dumb gag. It's so frustratingly annoying. Stop doing this. Fans have been screaming about this for so long, and Marvel just continues to do this. Comedy is fun. Like, we enjoy comedy. I mean, I love Thor Ragnarok, and it's also one of the funniest movies in this franchise, but there's a very delicate balance that movie portrays between humor and dark, emotional sequences. And a lot of these Marvel projects lately have not done that. They just fall back into this rhythm of dumb gags, silly, corny, stupid jokes, and all of the emotional weight that we're supposed to feel is just left by the wayside. I also thought the ideas of having Billy encounter the other three witches in the coven in various ways throughout his circumstances was just so corny and unnecessary. We didn't really need that at all. And he doesn't even really have any experience with them except for, I can't even remember her name, Lilia? I mean, that's the only one that he actually has any real interaction with, so I just don't understand what the point of all those were. Oh, and last week I complained that at the end of episode 5, Rio never comes out of the house, and it's just never mentioned that she's missing. It's never noticed, never brought up. Well, at the end of this episode, Agatha and Billy continue their journey on the road, and there is still no mention of Rio, so that's fun, I guess. When this series kicked off, I had very low expectations, but I enjoyed it at the start. It was fun. I dug the vibe it was giving off. I didn't think it was great, but it was a hell of a lot more enjoyable than some of the more recent MCU shows. But man, these last 2 episodes have really turned me off, and this episode was just a drag to get through. We have 3 episodes left, so hopefully it picks back up and ends with a bang. I doubt it, but I guess we'll see.